The much-anticipated retooling of the Tigers has officially begun. J.D. Martinez, it was announced earlier this hour, has been traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks. In return, the Tigers get 3 infield prospects from Arizona. J.D. Martinez makes his final tour through the Tigers clubhouse. We still have baseball to play tonight. It is Game 2 in this series featuring the Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pepper, Rod Allen, glad to have you with us for Game 2 of the series. And Rod, I guess we knew this day was finally going to come, but even though it is here, it doesn't really make it all that much easier.
No, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, you're trading away one of the best right fielders in the game of baseball, power hitter, a guy that hits for average, a model citizen. He's been that in the community. It's a very tough day for the Tigers, but it's also a day the Tigers should celebrate because they got some really good young players in return.
All right, now just minutes ago, our Trevor Thompson was able to catch up with the general manager of the Tigers, Al Avila, who said this was an awfully difficult trade to make.
See, it breaks my heart. I love JD. We have a long relationship. You know, he's almost like a son to me. I know the family well, and so obviously these things are never easy. But I think at the end of the day, it's the best thing for the organization. And really, and quite frankly, JD's going to a contending club that, you know, with his help, will probably be in the playoffs, and it should be good for him too.
And the days ahead might get a little bit more difficult for Mr. Avila because he might have to trade his son away. And, of course, he said J.D. Martinez is like a son to him. But let's take a look at the young prospects the Tigers were able to get back in return. And I've heard some great things about all 3 of these young men. You take a look at Lugo here. He's the closest to the big leagues, 22 years old. He played in the Arizona Fall League last year. He'll probably go to Double-A. You see his numbers, 24, 105. That's since 2016. Alcantara, he's a guy, big shortstop. Great arm. This guy played shortstop in Licey last year in Winter League. He's got a plus arm, so they look at him being a shortstop in the future. The most interesting is a King. He's youngster, 18 years old, but this guy's an 8 runner. He runs a 6.2 60. So clearly, Mario, with the trades that they made, Tigers have said, we are going to get younger, we are going to get more athletic, and we are going to control these young players for a long, long time. So kudos to Al Avila and his staff for getting some really good young talent back. We won't know how good they are for a while, but good for them getting these prospects.
Younger, faster, leaner, the Tigers certainly are. A whole lot more of that as they make this trade for J.D. Martinez. After a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios, and we'll check in with John Keating. Coming up tonight, we still have a baseball game to play. Matt Boyd will make his first start back from the minor leagues, trying to stick in this Tigers rotation. Stay with us. Tigers-Royals, Game 2 from Kauffman Stadium next.
Martinez is off to the desert to join the Arizona Diamondbacks. In his time with the Tigers, he was a .300 hitter, just one home run shy of 100 as a Tiger. 40 of those came in the 7th inning or later. Today he became a Diamondback, and these were some of his parting words.
It's definitely tough, you know. I love this team. I love this organization. You know, I love the fans. I love everything in Detroit. You know, that's home for me. You know, I've always said that. Like, they were the organization that believed in me when everyone else passed. They were the ones that gave me the opportunity when everyone else didn't. You know, but we kind of had a feeling this was coming, or it was on the horizon. So, you know, I wish it could have been different. I wish we would have came out, we would have been hot, and we could have, you know, maybe been in first place right now, and all of a sudden, you know, we're in a playoff run here. But, you know, God's got other plans, and, you know, that's where he wants me. So just got to take it for what it is and be excited. You know, I'm joining another good organization in Arizona, and, you know, just got to go out there and help them win.
And the Tigers will try to win without J.D. Martinez. They'll try to take a second straight from the Royals here in KC, and a 22nd win overall against the Central Division. We've got Game 2 between the Tigers and Royals coming your way next on Fox Sports Detroit, with Mario Impemba and Rod Allen on the call. Is coming your way next.
AA right now, a lot of high accolades. We feel we have an everyday third baseman that can play really good defense and hit really well, and we feel there's some power coming. So we feel we have a very good player from both ends of the table, defense and hitting wise, in Lugo. And he was like the main guy of the package there. With Alcantara, the shortstop, he's a very good defensive player, very athletic, switch hitter, he hits from both sides, and we feel he's got the potential to be a very good, a pretty good hitter too, that he could be an everyday shortstop. And then with King, who's the furthest guy, he's a very young kid, 18 years old, and rookie ball still. The reason we went that low, and he's more of a higher risk guy, but he's also a high reward type of guy because tremendous tools, tremendous work ethic, and we feel he's got high upside. He's also a shortstop that, very fast run. We get him a 70 grade on running. So we feel we have a nice package of good position players coming into the system.
And the overview of the prospects the Tigers received from General Manager Al Avila, Lugo, Alcantara, and King all joining the Tigers system. So they've gotten a whole lot younger and some really good prospects for the middle infield. Here's the Tigers starting lineup tonight. Presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. It'll be Kinsler, Castellanos, and Upton in the top 3 spots, followed by Miguel Cabrera cleaning up. Mikey Matuk will be bumped up to 5 tonight. Then Victor Martinez, James McCann. You got Presley in right and Machado getting the start at short. He's had some good numbers recently offensively. And the Tigers tonight are facing a left-hander, Travis Wood, and he is presented by Jeff Glover and Associates Realtors.
And for the most part, Wood has pitched out of the bullpen this year, but he really has struggled, so they decided to stretch him out and get him in the rotation. He's now making his second start here tonight against the Tigers bats.
So the Tigers won convincingly last night by a score of 10-2. We'll see if they can make it 4 consecutive victories now. And they will do so tonight for the first time in 4 years without J.D. Martinez in their lineup. Ian Kinsler will settle into the box. It'll be Kinsler, Castellanos, and Upton for the Tigers.
And Wood has everything. Fastball tops out at about 90. He'll also throw you a slider. He likes to throw quite a few cutters to the right-handed batters inside. He'll also use his curveball and his changeup. So Wood has 5 different pitches.
And here we go. The first pitch of the ball game tonight is a strike called on Kinsler. Ian got the game off to a rousing start last night with a double in the first. He finished up with 3 hits. A couple of triples to go with his double. Tigers jumped all over Vargas early in last night's game. The 0-1 is lifted in the air to shallow right field, and it's going to be caught there by Whit Merrifield. 1 gone.
Let's take a look at the Kansas City Royals starting defense. It is brought to you by Tim Hortons. Mario told you that Merrifield is in right field here tonight. Cain in center field. Cain leads all American League center fielders with 88 starts this year. Gordon in left. Moustakas, Escobar, Torres, Hosmer. They round out the infield, and the Gold Glove winner, 4-time Gold Glove winner, Salvador Perez, is the catcher.
Here is Nicolas Castellanos batting in the 2 spot again tonight for the Tigers. 2 out of 5 with a homer last night. And that home run he hit was hit to dead center field over that wall, and he just got all of it. For Castellanos, the home run came in the 2nd inning and really kind of busted things open early.
Yeah, last night's starter for the Kansas City Royals, Jason Vargas, came in with 12 victories and 7 wins at home. But the Tigers jumped on him early and often last night.
Vargas' ZRA at home coming into last night's game was under 2, and the Tigers beat him up. Castellanos looks at a strike in the count quickly now. 0-2 on Nicolas.
Real slow curveball there at 72 miles an hour thrown by Travis Wood.
Wood is 30 years old, born in Little Rock, Arkansas. Former Chicago Cub, signed in the offseason. And that one misses low. Run the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wood was a starter earlier in his career, transitioned into the bullpen, was pretty good in the Cubs World Series run last year. And started the year in the bullpen for the Royals, but they have now moved him back into the rotation. Castellanos fouls one back out of play.
That's been an issue so far this year for the Kansas City Royals. They have used a lot of starting pitchers.
Well, they've had some injuries as well.
They have not had that consistency because of those injuries and the ineffectiveness of some of those guys.
Upton waiting on deck. And again the 1-2. But outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Castellanos.
If you think about it, Wood kind of pitches exactly the way Vargas did last night. He kind of pitches backwards. He's not going to challenge you with a lot of fastballs and fastball counts. Instead, he'll throw you that curveball or the changeup to this majority right-handed lineup that the Tigers will run at him tonight.
Swing and a miss. Castellanos was tied up, and down he goes. First strikeout of the ball game for Travis Wood. Another balmy evening to say the least here in KC. 91 degrees our game time temp. The heat index about 95, 96. But that's what we expected coming into the series. And they say, Rod, it's going to get even hotter by the time we leave, about 100 degrees on Thursday.
I did see that forecast.
Or close to it, at least. Two gone now for Justin Upton. Jay Up was 0 for 4 in last night's game, and he'll look at a strike in the outside corner. It'll be interesting to see how the Tigers respond tonight. I think to a man they all figured JD would eventually be traded, but until it really happens, you don't know how the team will respond. The 0-1 in the air to shallow right field. Merrifield on a sprint, a sliding play for out number 3.
Merrifield really has not been in the outfield that often this year. He's their everyday second baseman.
Made a nice play there, and the Tigers go 1-2-3 in the first. Martinez making his way out of Kauffman Stadium. He is headed to the Diamondbacks in the trade that was announced earlier this evening. So JD no longer a Tiger, and he is on his way to the desert. We certainly wish him well. Got to be tough. Here is the starting pitcher tonight for the Tigers, Matt Boyd. He is presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
As a matter of fact, Matthew Boyd made his last start in the big leagues against the Kansas City Royals. It was at right here in this ballpark. No decision in that particular contest. He had 8 games down in the minor leagues. He pitched very well down there. The reason why he gets another start in the big leagues.
So Boyd taking the spot of Daniel Norris, who was sent down for a rehab start down at Toledo. He'll make that start tonight, or is making that start. And in the meantime, Boyd has another opportunity in the big leagues. And Whit Merrifield starts it off and looks at strike 1. Merrifield was 1 for 5 last night. Did have a double and knocked in a run. 34 driven in for their leadoff man. Breaking ball missing away. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And Whit Merrifield probably has been their most consistent offensive player this season.
Pulled foul.
I know Moustakas has had a real nice year, a lot of power numbers, but Merrifield day in, day out, clutch hitting, stellar defensively, and he's had a really nice season against Tigers pitching.
We've already seen his versatility. He's playing right field tonight. Made a couple of nice catches in the top of the first.
Yeah, that versatility started for Merrifield when he was playing college baseball at South Carolina.
Good program. That'll bounce in and hit him. Merrifield hit by the pitch, so he will take first base. Here's the rest of the Royals lineup tonight, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. You saw Merrifield. Bonifacio is next, then Lorenzo Cain. Eric Hosmer batting cleanup, followed by Perez and Moustakas. Escobar, good numbers this year against the Tigers. Gordon and Torres rounded out for KC. So very early runner to deal with now for Boyd. And here is the number 2 hitter, Bonifacio.
And Whit Merrifield has a huge lead over at first base. He wants to see.
Right back up the middle into center field, a base hit. Merrifield will hit the bag at second and hold there as Matuk gets it back in.
And the reason why he had such a huge lead, that would be Merrifield. He wanted to see the move of Matthew Boyd.
Meanwhile, Bonifacio hit a rocket back up the middle.
Boyd has made 4 starts in this ballpark, and his numbers are not pretty. He's 0-2 with an earned run average of 13. He needs to flip that script, obviously, because this pretty much is a pitcher-friendly ballpark if you keep the ball down.
How much are those numbers in the back of his mind, or are guys at this level able to kind of put that aside?
I think the thought is in his mind, the fact that he has had some issues in this particular yard, and he's had some issues with the guy standing in the batter's box. So if he had his way, he would have rather faced Lorenzo Cain with 2 outs and nobody on.
And Cain looks at ball 1 outside.
And since the break, and this Royals team, they have struggled with runners in scoring position. It's one of the reasons why they've dropped the majority of their games since the All-Star break. They just haven't gotten it done.
You're not kidding. The Royals are hitting 120 with men in scoring position since the break. They've got an early chance here, and Cain looks at a ball that curves on the outside corner for a strike.
It's a nice job here by Boyd, and the fastball count is kind of like what Zimmermann did last night. You don't want to give in to Cain because he's sitting there dialed in for a fastball, so you land that breaking ball very nicely in McCann's glove and you get strike 1. Now you might be able to sneak a fastball by him.
Big swing there by Cain, 1-2.
That's what the breaking ball will do if you come back with a good heater in the mid-90s. That last heater by Boyd at 95.
Boyd allowed 2 or fewer runs in 6 of his 8 starts down with Toledo. His last start, though, he gave up 5 runs, but by and large was awfully good after being sent down. He is ahead of Cain, 1-2. Bouncing ball right side. Cabrera sprawling play to second 1. That's all they're going to get. Merrifield goes to third.
And Miguel had to go to second base. That's exactly where his body, after he slid for that ball, was carrying him. So that was the easiest out to get. And let's take a peek at Tigers' defensive alignment. Upton is in the outfield. You've got Matuk out there as well. Presley was a late addition after the J.D. Martinez trade to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Machado up the middle along with Kinsler, Castellanos, and the big fella Miguel Cabrera on the corners. And James Mccann is the catcher this evening.
So here is Eric Hosmer now with runners at first and third and 1 out. Hosmer homer into the ball game last night, was 2 for 5. His 13th home run of the year.
Lorenzo Cain has not been caught attempting to steal a base this year, and he has stolen 15.
Nineteen consecutive stolen base attempts dating back to last August, so it's been on a pretty good stretch. Hosmer looks at a strike.
And we were talking with Brad Ausmus before the game today, and he said in his opinion that's the pitch that Boyd needed to go down to the minor leagues and refine. That would be the breaking ball. He threw a really good one to Cain to get strike 1. That was a really good breaking ball there as well to Eric Hosmer. Brad said he's going to need that pitch to be effective up here.
Cain draws the throw at first base.
That was almost a balk there.
It sure looked like it.
Boyd has to be careful.
Very borderline. Hosmer, the batter, really not bothered at all by left-handed pitching this year, batting .316 versus lefties. And, well, righties don't give much trouble either. .310. The 0-1. Bouncer back up the middle and into center field, a base hit. On his way to third is Bonifacio, or Cain rather, and that'll leave him at first and third now. It's an RBI hit for Eric Hosmer, just out of the reach of Kinsler.
And Boyd came right back with that same breaking ball, but this breaking ball stayed up. And even though he was fooled, that would be Eric Hosmer, the bat stayed back long enough for him to hit that ball right back up the middle past the diving Ian Kinsler.
So the Royals did not score in last night's game till the 7th inning. And they've gotten a quick run now against Matthew Boyd. Here is Salvador Perez. Ball 1 to Perez, way inside. The RBI for Hosmer, number 44 on the year. Another good night offensively for Perez. Good season, I should say. Last night 1 for 3, but 18 home runs this year for the backstop. The 1-0. Driven high in the air to left field. Upton measuring it. Cain is tagging. He'll come home, and the throw goes back into second base. It'll be a sacrifice fly and an RBI for Perez. 2-0 Royals. '58th RBI now for Perez. Here is Moustakas. Did not have a hit last night, was 0 for 4, batting .267 on the season. The All-Star Mike Moustakas, who won the final vote. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Boyd hit the very first batter in this inning and has since given up a couple of runs. Slice to left field. That's going to sink and drop in for a base hit. Hosmer will go to second and pull in there, and Moustakas with an opposite field single. So the Royals already with 3 hits in this game.
Well, Boyd has to get the ball down. The breaking ball to Hosmer, that was hit right back up the middle. That was up in the strike zone. That allowed Hosmer to get to it. And that pitch right there to Moustakas also up in the strike zone. Even though he didn't hit it very hard, he was able to fight it off because it was at the top of the strike zone.
That'll bring up Alcides Escobar. Looks like his streak of consecutive games played might be in jeopardy, but Escobar, after being hit by a pitch last night, is back in there tonight. He was hit on the wrist by Zimmermann. Batting with 2 outs in the first. Fouled back out of play, 0-1. Here are the umpires tonight. Phil Cuzzy is your home plate umpire. Carapazza, Ripperger, and Tom Hallion. Hallion, the crew chief.
Escobar batting .423 this year against Tigers pitching. Not a lot of power, but he's getting a lot of hits against the Tigers staff. You've got to pitch him very careful here.
That floats high and away.
And really, for the better part of 3 weeks, Escobar has been on fire, and he's raised his batting average about 50 or 60 points in that span.
When we saw Escobar here early in the season, he was sub 200.
He sure was.
Been on base now in 16 consecutive games for the Royals. Swing and a miss. He was out in front.
Good changeup there thrown by Matthew Boyd. At the beginning of the season, Boyd had an outstanding changeup. And when he was using his fastball in the mid-90s effectively, that changeup was a put-away pitch for Matthew. I just told you he went down to the minors to work on his breaking pitches and to help him to contain the left-handers a little bit better.
Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball to third, foul. Escobar playing in his 263rd consecutive game tonight for the Royals, who have themselves another nice crowd here on a warm evening in KC. Second game in a 4-game series between these two squads. Boyd is about to throw his 20th first inning pitch. And it's lined to right field, a base hit. Here comes Hosmer. They're going to send him home. Presley's throw to the plate, not in time. Hosmer scores a 2-out RBI single by Alcides Escobar. And the Royals lead 3-0.
Hey, nothing wrong with the velocity or the pitches that Boyd is throwing here, but he's leaving some balls up, and that one sliced the opposite way by Escobar. Hosmer with good speed, able to score all the way from second base, running on contact. The Royals came into this contest having hit 120 since the All-Star break, with runners in scoring position, and doing a much better job here tonight in the first inning.
Here is the number 8 hitter, Gordon. There is the breakdown. A lot of strikes here for Boyd, but he trails 3-0.
And Boyd also 5 of 7 in first pitch strikes, so he is filling up the strike zone with a lot of strikes, but just not quality strikes yet.
And there's strike 1 on Gordon. 1 for 4 in the ball game last night. It's been a miserable year for Gordon. 193. He'll check it. Strike called. 0-2 as Boyd again works the outside corner. 3 runs on 4 Royals hits here in the first. Good block there by McCann. 1-2. This is the 8th man at bat in the inning for the Royals. Boyd's last start before going down to Toledo was against KC, but he gave up 7 hits, 4 runs in 3 2/3 in that game. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out to end the inning. Royals get 3 runs, though. They strand a pair. And, of course, the big news tonight, JD Martinez traded to the Diamondbacks, off to the airport and to the desert. Good luck, JD. deficit now. 3-0 is our score as we go to the top of the second. It's going to be Cabrera, Matuk, and Martinez facing Travis Wood, who had a relatively easy first inning, 10 pitches, and he got the Tigers 1-2-3.
And no need for the Tigers to panic. They've got a lot of outs left in this contest, and Travis Wood really.
Soft one, hopper to second, going to scoop by Torres into right field.
Wood has not pitched very well this year.
Leadoff man aboard. And time now for the AT&T reliability stat of the game. Head-to-head this season, Tigers have had some really good numbers against the Royals. They played well against the entire division, but especially Kansas City.
Yeah, Royals have struggled this year. Their starters earned run average over 7.5 against Tiger bats this season.
Cabrera credited with a single on that play. The Tigers had their first hit of the ball game. Here is Matuk. And Mikey laces one to left field. That's going to get down and go to the corner. Cabrera rounds the bag. He's on his way to third. Matuk has a double. And the Tigers are in business here in the second.
And Matuk was batting 7th when the first lineup came out today. But when JD Martinez was traded to the Diamondbacks, he was bumped up to that number 5 spot, partner. And I can guess he's doing his best JD Martinez impersonation here.
It's pretty good.
And whistling one down the left field line for a stand-up double.
Mikey having himself a series, his 4th hit now in this series.
And Tigers 1 hit away from getting right back in this one. Victor had a big day yesterday, had a couple of knocks.
Martinez 3 out of 4 in the ball game yesterday, and not only that, but Victor knocked in 3. One of them came on a bases loaded walk in the first inning against Vargas. Infield back here with nobody out. Cued foul back out of play, 0-1. Victor now has the average at .260 with 6 home runs on the year. He sits safely in 5 in a row. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. That'll get 1 run in. Cabrera scores. Matuk, they're going to try and score him. Here's a throw from Cain, and it gets by. Martinez thought about going to second base. 2 runs are in, and very aggressively down at third, Dave Clark wheeled around Matuk. A 2-run hit for Victor Martinez.
And Victor Martinez continues to get it done. Now he's driven in 5 in the series. That's a breaking ball that he stays back long enough to hit. But take a look at Matuk at the position here. Matuk's going to break back to the bag because he's not sure where the shortstop is. He takes 1 step back to the bag, and even though he breaks back, Dave Clark at third base said, "You still got to go." And Dave Clark sends Matuk home, and he's able to slide in safely. It's outstanding coaching by Dave Clark, knowing that Matuk had the speed to score.
Tigers get 2 back, 3-2 ball game now, and here is James Mccann. Ball 1 to Mccann. The minute that Mikey broke back to second, I thought there's no chance he's going to score.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm thinking, no way Dave Clark can send him now.
James at 201 this year. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-run ball game now. The Tigers have come back with 3 consecutive hits. Out in front, 1-2.
That's that slow breaking ball again. He's already thrown 1 at 72 miles an hour. That bender there to Mccann, 74 miles an hour. So he goes anywhere from 70 with that curveball all the way up to 89, 90 and with his fastball.
Tigers are seeing 3 lefties in this series. Mccann the start tonight. Avila caught last night. That'll miss inside.
But that next lefty they see is a whole lot different from these 2 we've seen already. And first pitch success for Wood here. Opponents this season 1 for 15 on first pitches of an at-bat, so that's pretty good. And he loves the changeup. He throws that 36% of the time. And you see his overall pitch usage on that graphic as well.
The Tigers will face Danny Duffy in the finale, but he's going up against Michael Fulmer.
Ooh, that'll be a fun one.
A fun one indeed. The 3 lefties in this series. Avila did catch against the lefty last night, Vargas.
Wood is death on left-handers, though. I mean, if you look at some of his numbers over his career, guys with like 900 minimum innings, he is up there with Kershaw and Sale and Bumgarner as guys that have been able to dominate left-handers. Those are the only guys that have been better than him his entire career. So that says something for Travis Wood.
Righties, meanwhile, have been a different story. 333 against him this year.
Yeah, and those 3 guys I mentioned, those other lefties, they kill righties too.
Yeah, they're on a different plane.
But he has been good against lefties in his career. That's probably the reason why the Royals signed him as a situational left-hander out of their bullpen, but he has just struggled mightily.
Mccann shoots a base hit to left field, and the Tigers have 4 straight hits here in the second. And this is shaping up to be a shootout. That'll bring up Presley now.
Yeah, you wonder what Brad is thinking here with Presley. You're down by 1. I know it's real early in the game, but you got a left-hander on the mound. I just told you that Wood has been death against left-handers in his career. Do you think he might be bunting Presley here? Get a couple of runners in scoring position?
Awfully early to do so. There's nobody out, but you just talked about the numbers against lefties. So maybe it's crossed his mind. We'll see. Tigers, meanwhile, against left-handed pitching, done some of their better work this year.
And even if Brad does not give Presley the bunt sign here, if you're Presley and they're giving you any kind of room, you might consider it yourself. You see Moustakas here. He's not giving him much room at all. So if you're Presley and you decide to bunt, you still have to go down in this area because you want Moustakas to come and field the baseball.
Ground ball is scooped up by Hosmer to second. There's one. Relay. Not in time. That was going to be a tough turn. Presley can run. He beat it out.
As fast as Presley is, the athletic defense of the Kansas City Royals almost allowed them to turn that over. Ball hit very sharply at Eric Hosmer. He gives Escobar a feed. That's not a great feed. It's not a great feed. He has to somehow get to the bag and then fire back to first base where Hosmer is. But they still did not get the out there. Actually, that was Wood on the bag.
Tying run goes to third now with 1 out. That's Victor Martinez. Here is Dixon Machado getting the start at short tonight. Presley 3 steals this year and 3 tries.
And Presley had a nice game last night after JD Martinez was removed with the precautionary back issue. Presley came on to get a couple knocks.
Yeah, took advantage of that opportunity. Ball 1 to Machado. Already 8 hits in this game and already 5 runs. We're only in the second. Well, Dixon's really come on offensively. 319 now overall this year. He drives one in the air to right field. Merrifield going over. Martinez will tag. Catch is made. Here comes Victor. And the throw comes back into second base. Sac fly. RBI for Machado to tie it up.
This cannot make Ned Yost happy. Yeah, the manager of the Royals, his team gets 3 in the bottom half of the first inning, and Wood gives them right back in the second frame here for the Tigers.
Well, the Royals battling back to the 500 plateau, although they fell below 500 with their loss last night to the Tigers. They're certainly in the mix in the American League Central Division, but they raced out to a quick lead tonight only to give them all back.
If this Royals team continues to struggle, Mario, for another week or so, their general manager, Dayton Moore, just might have to start trading some of the pieces away that he said he did not want to trade away, and that would be a Moustakas or an Escobar or a Hosmer or a Vargas or Cain. All of those guys will be free agents next year.
It's funny how things can change so quickly. The Royals had won 5 in a row, back into it, and everybody thought about buying now. And now if they go on a little bit of a skid here with, what, about 2 weeks to go before the deadline, they may have to reverse course.
Remember the Tigers a few years ago that they weren't open for business until they lost that final game in Tampa. All of a sudden they became sellers, and within 3 days, Price, Soria, and Cespedes were all walking out the door.
Yeah, it happens that quickly. Kinsler looks at a ball outside. 2-0 now.
I mean, they're in this thing because Cleveland really is not playing good baseball. And really the Tigers are right in this thing. I mean, if you really think about it.
6 back. 2 teams to jump in the division. And a ball high. 3-0 now on Kinsler.
Wonder if Ian Kinsler will get the green light here against Woods. You know, if he throws a fastball, it's only going to be about 89, 90 miles an hour. Real good hitting speed for a guy like Ian, should he want to swing at it.
He swings at it and lines it to left field. It's a fair ball going to the corner. Presley is on his way to third, and Dave Clark's going to stop him there. It's a double for Ian, his 4th extra base hit already in the series.
Ian's been banging, and if you notice, he's not popping up the way that he had been popping up before he's gone on this hot streak the last couple of days. Everything that he is hitting has been on the line. 2 triples yesterday, a double yesterday, and a double today. He gets on top of that fastball and whistles it down in the left field corner. We had a feeling he might be swinging 3-0. Nice job by Gordon getting that ball. Presley had to hold up at third base.
2 doubles and a triple last night, and now a 2-bagger here tonight. Now the Tigers a base hit away from capturing the lead.
I was reading some numbers on Ian Kinsler's night last night. He had 2 triples, but he also grounded into 2 double plays. That hadn't been done since 1939, according to the numbers I read last night.
Castellanos flares one into right field. Merrifield coming over, diving, can't get it. Off his glove, and 2 runs will score. Nick rounds the bag on his way to third, and he is in with a triple, his 7th of the year. And the Tigers lead 5-3.
Nicolas was low flying around second base.
Nearly a spectacular catch by Whit Merrifield.
And Merrifield's already made one nice grab in here. The ball goes in the glove, and then it scoots away from him, and that allows everybody to score. Ian Kinsler had already doubled. He scored, Presley scored, and Castellanos able to scoot over to third base.
The Tigers answer the 3 spot from the Royals with 5 of their own, and they're not done yet. Here's Upton. And J-Up looks at a ball high.
How about Castellanos leading the American League with 7 triples?
There you go. Ramirez has 5 along with Sanchez of Chicago. Upton sends a ground ball to third, glove there by Moustakas. And that'll finally end the inning. Tigers send 9 men to the plate, and they put up a 5 spot. They have their first lead of the night. Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. Chrysler, make the most of your summer with a brand new vehicle at the Chrysler Summer Clearance Event. And by Kroger, with low prices and weekly deals, saving is easy at Kroger. Back to the hill goes Matthew Boyd with a lead now. It is 5-3. The Tigers put up 5 runs on 6 hits. They batted around against Wood. There's a broken bat roller toward third base. Castellanos. And Torres out by a couple of steps, 1 gone.
And so far, Boyd's been outstanding in first pitch strikes. And now 7 of 9 through the first time through the lineup of Kansas City. Got to get the ball down. Did not get the ball down in the first.
Here is Whit Merrifield. Merrifield hit by pitch, scored a run in the first inning, and he looks at ball 1. Looked pretty good, didn't get the call though. Merrifield is hitting .339 against the Tigers, 13 of his last 14 versus Detroit. He has hit safely in. That'll sail high. 2 balls and no strikes.
And Boyd might want to stay back just a little bit to rest over the rubber a little bit more after he picks that front leg up. That will allow the arm to catch up, and that would allow Boyd to get the ball down in the strike zone.
Hammered foul to left field.
You know, right, every now and then when a pitcher has having a difficult time of getting the ball down, there's a tendency to rush off of that rubber, and by doing so your arm never catches up. Therefore your arm lags and allow the ball to stay up in the zone.
Outside, now the count goes 3-1. Right-handers this year batting .330 against Boyd. That was coming into play tonight. Matthew ready now with the 3-1 offering. Fouled back out of play. 3-2.
Now here's what I'm talking about regarding the Boyd delivery. Take a look at the front leg here. When it gets up here, I mean, here's where you have to pause and you have to make sure that you allow the arm to separate from the glove. You can run it now, and that allows the arm to catch up and allows you to get the ball down in the zone.
In the air to right field. Presley is on the move, and he'll run it down.
Here's our Bell Tire pitch by pitch. If you're just joining us, he gave up a 3 spot in the first inning, but take a look at the location of most of the pitches after the hit batter. That was Merrifield. That one is up to Bonifacio. That allowed him to reach base 22 consecutive days. Longest streak in the majors. Then you have the ball to Hosmer up in the zone. The ball also to Perez up in the zone. So once he gets it down, he'll have success here tonight.
Here's Bonifacio now with 2 outs. Almost hit him 1-0.
Royal pain, and that's what the Royals have been to Boyd so far this year.
One ball, 1 strike on Bonifacio.
And that 22 game reaching base safely now for Bonifacio is the longest such streak in the majors.
Bonifacio's brother Emilio played with the Royals briefly back in 2013. Singled in first.
Looks like Bonifacio, this one used to get to the dinner table a little earlier than the other one, though.
And much more often. That's in foul territory. It appears to be playable. Mccann hauls it in, and Boyd with a nice comeback. A 1-2-3 second. Stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game. Presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites, now being served all day. So here is Cabrera, who led off the second with a single, and he is leading things off in the third against Wood. And he shoots a ground ball to second, this time right at Torres. One pitch, one out. Second time Miguel's gone that way. The first time he snuck it by the second baseman.
For whatever reason, and we'll get into it a little bit later on, but Miguel has gone to that two-strike approach quite often, even before he gets 2 strikes. And because of that, not necessarily generating much power these days. He's putting the ball in play, but not the way Miguel Cabrera has put the ball in play his entire career.
There's been a look of frustration on his face a lot more recently than in the past.
I have to admit, I wasn't worried at first, but I'm starting to wonder a little bit now.
Yeah, it's almost August. There's a strike called on Mikey Matuk, who doubled and scored in the 5-run second. Mikey up to 281 now. On the outer edge, and now the count is 0-2. Matuk shaking his head, indicating he disagreed. Chopper to the shortstop. Escobar gloving to his left. Gotta hurry, and he got him by a step. 2 ground ball outs, 2 away here in the Tiger third.
Escobar, real nice defender. He grabs this ball with the glove and takes very little time transferring in, throwing on the run, and throwing accurately. And a real good shortstop. Long, lean body.
That'll bring up Vmart. 2-run single back in the second. Wood in search of a 1-2-3 inning. He had one back in the first, and then it kind of fell in on him in the second. Just looking at some numbers on Travis Woodrod. He made 77 appearances last year out of the bullpen for the Cubs, and then another 9 in the postseason. So you wonder how that long postseason had an effect on him this year.
That's a great point.
It's a lot of appearances. Slow tap to third. Moustakas will throw in the dirt, but scooped by Hosmer. And a 1-2-3 third for Wood. All right, Keats, thanks. Here it is 5-3. Tigers have a 2-run lead as we go to the bottom of the third. Matthew Boyd back to work. He's got Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, and then Salvador Perez, the teeth of the Royals lineup here.
Boyd has thrown a lot of first pitch breaking balls today already, and he's been able to throw that pitch for a strike. And very impressive so far.
Royals came out, landed a couple of haymakers, but Boyd came back with a 1-2-3 second after allowing 3 in the first. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Big swing by Cain, who was not cheated. So if we're looking at the young guys the Tigers got, Rod, and obviously we don't know a whole lot about these young men. All we know is what people tell us about them, but they certainly have gotten younger.
Well, they say the shortstop, the King kid, he's 18 years old. He probably has the most upside. He's a blazing runner. He runs a 6.2 60.
Right at Upton for the out, 1 gone.
And he'll probably go to rookie ball and probably go to A ball next year is what Al said. Then you have the Alcantara kid, a switch hitting shortstop that has a tremendous throwing arm. He has a very athletic body. And then you have the Lugo kid. He's probably the furthest along. He played in the Arizona Fall League last year, and he probably could play in the big leagues at some point in time next year after he goes to AAA for a spell. But they clearly have gotten younger, and they clearly have gotten more athletic, and they clearly have just gotten better in the minor leagues.
Hosmer shoots one fair down the third base line. Upton over there quickly to get it. Hosmer is going to hold with a single. Nice play by J-Up.
Hosmer, will you quit it?
2 out of 2 against the Tigers. And he's Chevrolet's most dependable player since May 1st. Here are the numbers for Hosmer in all these different categories. He's been hot.
Eric got off to a very slow start this year. He is a free agent to be, and a lot of times guys that are going to be free agents, for whatever reason, they put a lot of pressure on themselves. But once he started playing the game the way that he's always played it, you get numbers like this. Chevy most dependable player.
Here is Salvador Perez, a sac fly to knock it a run in the first inning. Rolled to third base foul.
Anytime Salvador Perez in the batter's box, if you're the pitcher, you have to think with 1 out, you're 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning. He has already grounded into 14 double plays this year. So if you're Boyd, that's exactly what you want here. You want a ground ball.
Perez now 58 home runs, or 58 RBIs, I should say, with 18 home runs. And it'll bounce in. Nice block by Mccann.
Yeah, those power numbers are better than any other catcher in the movies right now. Salvador resting a little bit more these days, too. Ned Yost is not playing him as much as he has in recent years, giving him days off after a night game. Matthew Boyd still looking for the ground ball.
Now the 1-1. 1-2 on Perez. Pretty good giddy up on that fastball from Matthew.
Yeah, he's been up to 95 here today. And not just once. He's been 95 a couple of times.
Up to 96, actually.
Excuse me, Matthew.
1-2. Little pop up. And Kinsler going to let it drop. They'll get the force at second. That'll exchange Hosmer for Perez.
That's a good play. And because you get the speed of Hosmer off the base paths, and you put the catcher, who doesn't run as well, on first.
Let's bring in Trevor Thompson now, Trev.
Mario, just building on what Rod said about Hosmer being a free agent, getting off to a slow start. Ned Yost admitted before the game that may have been the issue with some of his players. The next guy up, Moustakas, is a free agent. Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo Cain, and the team got off to a slow start in April. And before the game, Ned Yost said that might have been part of the problem. Those guys thinking about that, wanting to press out of the gate, and the team didn't get off to a very good start, but they have since really picked it up, and they'd like to keep the band together and make another run at the postseason. Not sure that's going to happen for all these guys, but that's what he spoke about before the game, just building on Rod's point.
Yeah, Trevor, these two teams have gone through lengthy losing streaks, 9 straight for the Royals early in the season. The Tigers had an 8-gamer as Moustakas cuts and misses.
That's a great point by you, Mario, because Ned Yost, I was listening to an interview that he did today, and he says that's one of the things that he's very impressed regarding his team. They had a horrible April, but then they came back and won like 15 of 20 games, and he says he has the kind of team that can do that again. They're very streaky.
The 0-1. 0-2 now on Moustakas. Tigers fell behind 3-0. Royals got 3 in the first, and then Tigers put up 5 on Travis Wood in the second. Here's the 0-2. 3 straight have been low and away to Moustakas. 1-2. 15.6 million votes Moustakas received to win the final vote and go to the All-Star game. He also took part in the home run hitting contest, and the only other Royals that have ever done that, Danny Tartabull and a guy named Bo Jackson, who could hit him a country mile.
Danny Tartabull, that's a name from the past.
Yeah, good player.
Yes, he was.
2-2 on Moustakas. Popped him up. Shallow right field. Kinsler backpedaling. And that'll end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left.
Here's our Comerica Bank game summary. Rough first inning for Matthew Boyd. Gave up 4 hits. The Royals scored 3 runs. They didn't hit the ball extremely hard, but he made mistakes with balls up in the strike zone. But the Tigers, they came right back in the top half of the second inning against Travis Wood. 6 knocked for the Tigers. When it was all said and done, they put a 5 spot on the board. So Tigers came right back in this contest and now lead 5-3.
Well, we'll see what the Tigers can do here in the 4th inning. Bottom 3 coming up. Mccann, Presley, Machado. Facing lefty Travis Wood, who had a 6-pitch 1-2-3 third. So he rebounded nicely after that 5-run second.
Yeah, he did.
Both guys settling in a bit now. There is ball 1 to Mccann.
And Mccann singled sharply his first time up to left field.
Tigers in that second got a single from Cabrera, doubled by Matuk, single by Martinez, single by Mccann. So the first 4 reached on base hits. Here's the 1-0. 2-0 on Mccann.
He really slows his arm motion down when he throws that changeup. You can almost tell it's coming, and by how much he slows his arm speed down. kind of telegraphs it.
Wood signed a 2-year deal in the offseason with the Royals after spending the last 5 years pitching out of the Cubs bullpen. We mentioned he made the transition from the rotation to the bullpen back in 2015. He was a starter. Now Mccann steps out. Travis Wood was an all-star a couple of years ago in the 2013 campaign for Chicago. Had a really good ERA. That was as a starter. And that's low, 3-1. Here are the career splits on Wood, starting and relieving. Three and two.
Yeah, nice cut fastball there at 87 thrown by Wood. He throws a lot of cutters. It looks like a fastball that's straight coming out of his hand. And when Mccann started that swing, that ball kind of tied him up.
Pull on the ground is short on the backhand there, Escobar. And he throws up the line. Tag is made, though, by Hosmer.
Hosmer is as good as any first baseman I've seen in our league, coming off that bag and making tough plays.
You may see the Tigers look at this one because McCann said he wasn't tagged.
And Hosmer, he doesn't put his foot on the bag. He kind of straddles it. Therefore, if it's a poor throw, he can athletically move to the left or right and then try to apply the tag, which McCann said he did not. Might be too tough to overturn or even challenge this early in the game. I'm going to try it, though.
So Phil Cuzzy has been informed, the home plate umpire, the Tigers will challenge. You saw the immediate reaction by McCann that he was not tagged, but again, did the replay show clearly that he was tagged? There's Tom Hallion, the crew chief. He'll come running in now. Tigers challenging this call here. It's about as slow as we can get it here to see if the tag was made.
Safe.
Missed him. That should be enough to say nope.
Infield base hit for James McCann.
You don't think they'll give him an error?
Good point. That's what it'll be. This Royals team doesn't make many errors, partner. They've only made 36 this year, which is the fewest in all of baseball. Outstanding fielding percentage, .989. Hosmer made an error last night. That was his first error in about 120 games.
Well, we're still waiting, which is a little cause for concern. So apparently in New York, it's not as clear as we think it is.
Well, you can tell the crowd here it does not think that he tagged him, because they'd have been, as many times as they've showed that look up there, the crowd would have cheered if they thought McCann was out.
Again, that super slow-mo look right there, I think clearly indicates he missed him. Still looking. Usually when it takes this long, they're probably going to stick with the call in the field, but we'll see. And now we've got our decision. Oh, man.
My goodness.
That's terrible. So Mccann is out.
Sometimes it makes you wonder what they're looking at.
I know it. And I assume they had this look right here, the super slow-mo, which, well, that's not the look, but I mean, even on that one, here's the next look that we saw here. This clearly shows that he missed it. But, oh well. One gone. And here is Presley now, and he looks at ball one. Break there for the Royals. Presley reaching on a fielder's choice and scoring a run back in the second, part of the 5-run second for the Tigers. I gotta tell you, Rod, I mean, when you look at what Presley and Mott took, and Adduci, who by the way was called up and will join the team, what they have contributed from Toledo has been awfully good.
Well, they've helped the Tigers keep their heads above water. And they really haven't gotten totally hot as a team, but the three guys that you mentioned, when they have come up, they have contributed, and they continue to contribute. Mottuck's batting average is all the way up to 280 right now, and Presley batting nearly 300.
Presley just seems to put the ball in play every single time.
Well, he takes advantage of his speed, and when you have the kind of speed that Alex has, I mean, you want to put the ball on the ground and you want to use the weapon that you have. There's no money to be made up there, though.
Escobar calling, and now he's called off, and Gordon makes the catch. 2 gone. Hey, by the way, the Tigers August Digital Ballpark Pass is your ticket to every home game in August. One pass every game, only $54.99. All tickets will be digitally delivered via your mobile device. Buy yours today at tigers.com/pass. The review time, by the way, in that play was 2 minutes 32 seconds. And we've told you throughout the year that they're trying to get these to within 2 minutes. That's the aim, at least. Most of the time they do. Machado, the batter, slaps it foul out of play. 1-1. Got to really admire the season Machado has put together. The young man has not seen consistent playing time this year, but when he has gotten a chance, he has really shined.
Yeah, Brad said before the game today he needed to get him in a game. This is the first time he's played since the break.
Nice pick there by Moustakas. And it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th.
Last night when Escobar was hit very late in the game by a Jordan Zimmermann pitch. Whether he would make his start here today, he has played in 262 consecutive games going into tonight's game, and he's back out there again, but I wasn't sure whether he'd make it tonight or not.
No, they took the x-rays after the game last night. They said he was feeling a lot better. The x-rays were clean, and here he is. So he answers the bell for the 263rd consecutive game.
He wasn't going to let the Tigers get out of town without playing anyway. He's had a wonderful year against Tigers pitching this year. He's up around 430.
Got another RBI single tonight. And he popped that one up. First base side for Cabrera, who's going to haul it in. One gone. That'll bring up Alex Gordon, who struck out with a couple of guys on to end the first.
And meanwhile, Matthew Boyd has settled in nicely after the rocky first inning.
Ausmus yesterday was asked if this is going to be a one-time thing for Boyd or if he's got a chance to stick in the rotation, and Brad said no, we're going to keep looking at him. If he pitches well, get another shot. Not necessarily a one-time thing. Got an update on Daniel Norris, whose spot Boyd took tonight. Daniel down in Toledo, 3 innings, 3 hits, and 4 earned runs.
And a total of 66 pitches for Daniel Norris.
With Norris and Boyd, Rod, you see the flashes, don't you? I mean, you see guys, especially with Norris, who can be a top-tier rotation guy.
And we're going to see a pitcher in a couple of days, and I think Norris has a chance of being as good as Danny Duffy. And Duffy is a really good pitcher, but at one point in time, just 2 years ago, he looked like Daniel Norris every start. Really wasn't commanding the fastball, wasn't throwing the breaking ball in fastball counts. He wasn't using his changeup. All of a sudden, Danny Duffy went to the bullpen to start one season, and then when they put him back in the rotation, he was a different guy.
Well, a strikeout if Gordon is out number 2. That'll bring up Torres. Tigers will see Duffy in the finale facing Michael Fulmer.
I remember Jim Leland used to talk about Duffy. He said if this guy ever figures it out, he has a chance to be one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. And of course, Danny Duffy pitched for Jim Leland in the World Baseball Classic this spring.
Yeah, I remember him saying that a few years ago.
He's always loved Duffy, and I think, me personally, I think Norris has a chance to be as good as Danny Duffy. The stuff is the same.
2-0 on Torres.
But it's going to be up to him to do it, obviously.
Boyd and Norris were both acquired from the Jays in the David Price deal a couple of years ago. Played his college ball at Oregon State. The Beavers went to the College World Series back in 2013, and Boyd was part of that team. Here's the 2-1. It'll pop up back a short. And here comes Jay up. Gonna drop in, base hit. Machado kind of peeled off on that ball, but Upton really had the only legitimate shot, and he couldn't get there.
And ball hit in no man's land. And Machado wasn't going to catch it. Jay Up comes in, leaves his feet, but makes sure and that he keeps that ball in front of him, not allowing Torres to get into scoring position.
Torres had been 0 for 15, and that slump has been snapped. Here's Whit Merrifield. Torres 1 steal this year at the major league level. Ball outside. Boyd now, after that 24 pitch first, has reached 60. He has been in much better shape from the second inning on. Try and keep it around 15 pitches per inning. Boyd surrendered an RBI single to Hosmer, a sac fly by Perez, and an RBI hit to Escobar. That was in the first inning tonight. Royals raced out to a 3-0 lead. Tigers answered. That will float in high. Breaking ball that missed. 2-0 on Merrifield, who back in the month of May put together a 19-game hitting streak, which goes to the consistency that you spoke of from Merrifield. Pretty good numbers across the board. Pulled on the ground at third. Castellanos. They'll get the force at second. And the side retired. No runs. They get a hit. Leave a man. As we go to the fifth inning, Tigers have the top of the lineup coming up. It'll be Kinsler, Castellanos, and then Upton. Tigers have the lead 5-3 as we go to the top of the fifth now here at Kauffman Stadium. It'll be the top of the Tigers lineup. And Ian Kinsler will get it started for the Tigers. Ian had a double in the second, did not score. Actually did score. He came around on the triple by Castellanos. It was his fourth extra base hit of the series already for Ian. Here's the 0-1 pitch. He'll drive that one to center field. Cain going back. He'll run it down. One away. We'll bring up Castellanos. Time for the Bernstein advantage. Nicolas, this season, April and May off to a slow start, but boy, once June rolled around and July, things started to perk up a bit.
Well, the batting average way up over 100 points, basically, in that BABIP, that BABIP. That's batted balls put in play. The batting average up over 347 now. And the hard hit rate. He continues to hit balls very hard, but now, all of a sudden, some of those hits are starting to fall for Castellanos, and now that batting average starting to creep up a little bit.
Nick had a 2-run triple in the second, his 7th triple of the year to lead the American League. Got out in front of that one in Yankee foul.
Charlie Blackmon of the Colorado Rockies. He was an all-star this year. He leads the majors in triples. And Nicolas checks in second. Nicolas has got more triples than Billy Hamilton. He's the fastest player in the majors.
How's that possible? When you think of guys that lead the American League in triples, I bet if you ask most baseball fans, they wouldn't be able to say or wouldn't say Castellanos. But Nick does lead the AL. One and two on Nicolas. Drill to left field down the line. That ball is going to be gone. A home run. Castellanos does it again. A long home run to left. And the Tigers have opened up a 6-3 lead. An absolutely no doubter for Castellanos, who has a homer last night and a homer tonight.
And the two swings are probably identical. The swing last night, also the swing tonight, both have nice launch angles. And when you have that nice launch angle with the bat speed that Nicolas can generate, and you're going to hit it out of the ballpark. That ball was away from Castellanos. He reached out and snatched it back to the pull field and hit it and way back.
Wood had retired 8 straight Tigers until that happened. And now Castellanos with home run number 13 on the year.
Big night for Castellanos already. He's got a triple and a homer. He's on his way to a cycle here tonight. Sounded good too. Tigers last couple of days has made Kauffman Stadium look small. Here's one look at the side swing. You can see that Nicolas very concentrating on making contact and trying to lift the baseball. He has said he's been trying to do that all year, as are a lot of guys in the big leagues these days. That's why the home run numbers are way up.
It's a fair ball down the left field line. Upton will pull in with a single, and the Tigers now have back-to-back hits, the homer and the base hit.
And the hit speed on the home run by Nicolas Castellanos left his bat at 104, and the distance 408 feet. Dave Island, the pitching coach, slow stroll to the mound to converse with Wood and the catcher Salvador Perez.
Peter Moylan is starting to warm up, the veteran right-hander.
He's had a pretty nice year, Peter Moylan.
That home run, by the way, went 408 feet on a 1-2 pitch. And Castellanos has now given the Tigers 10 extra base hits already in the series. And we're about a game and a half in.
Yeah, 24 hits total, 10 extra base hits.
Here is Cabrera. Miggy looks at the ball outside, 1-0.
They say Miggy's dropped about 20-25 pounds. Does he look like to you he's dropped 20 to 25 pounds? Have you noticed the difference?
I wouldn't say that much, but I think he is a little bit slimmer. Here's the 1-0. Bouncing ball left side. Moustakas can't get it. Base hit. Upton will go to second base, and the Tigers now with runners at first and second, 1 out. That is 9 hits now for the Tigers.
Yeah, they've beat up on Kansas City Royals pitching all year long. We showed you earlier the starters for the Kansas City Royals this season. Their earned run average is over 7 against Tigers bats, and Ned Yost has seen enough.
Moylan will come in out of the bullpen. Ned Yost will go to the right-hander. Wall side windows pitching change. We'll be back.
big money encounter. Mikey Montuk, boy, was he on one last night. He took a Jason Vargas fastball, hit it 445 feet in the drink in left field. And not only was he getting it done offensively, he leaves his feet to make a real nice grab in center field. Mikey Montuk, since he's taken over that center field position, well, he's been balling.
He's got another chance here as he will stand in with 2 men on for the Tigers. Already scored a run, the home run by Castellanos. The night is over for Travis Wood. He will give way to Peter Moylan, who comes out of the bullpen for KC.
And since late May, Moylan's numbers spectacular. And logging 16 innings, the ERA is 1.13, and the WHIP is under 1, and has not given up a big fly.
One out of 2 tonight for Montuk, a double in the second and a run scored.
And Moylan has inherited 37 base runners this year, which paces the majors.
Fly ball right field. It'll be playable for Merrifield. Jay Up will tag, and he will scoot to third.
And he has stranded 29 of the 37. So he's done pretty well when coming in situations where he's been given some traffic on the base paths. It's the main reason why Ned Yost, the manager, went to him in this situation with 2 runners aboard.
Well, this is the 43rd appearance, which is 7th in the AL. He's 38 years old. I didn't realize Moylan had been around that long. First year was 06 with Atlanta. Here's Victor now with 2 outs. 2-run single, part of the 5-run second. Tigers lead by 3 now, 6-3. Rolled foul, 0-1.
And runner on third base, the infield of the Royals not shifting on Victor as much as they normally do. They don't want him to shoot that hole. You see Escobar, he's the shortstop. He's pretty much staying at home. You see Torres out there. He's in right center, right field. They're trying to take that base hit away, but not giving Victor as many holes in this situation as we see sometimes. Ned Yost is one of those managers that doesn't shift all that much anyway. He's an old school guy.
Bouncing ball right side. Right to Torres in the outfield grass, and he'll throw him out. However, the Tigers add 1 more run. It's been a big series for Nick Castellanos. Homered in the ball game last night to dead center. He is homered into the ball game here tonight down the left field line. And the Tigers now lead 6-3. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. back in this game after falling behind 3-0 in the first inning. And Matthew Boyd, meanwhile, Rod, has really kind of turned this thing around.
He's made a nice adjustment, getting the ball down in the strike zone. He's thrown some outstanding breaking balls to lead off a lot of these hitters, and he's been able to throw it for a strike.
Bonifacio takes ball one outside as we start the bottom of the fifth.
And Matthew's thrown a total of 63 pitches, 42 of those strikes. How about Jordan Zimmermann last night, man? His efficiency throwing that ball over the plate. Amazing.
It was amazing.
By far his best start this year, Jordan Zimmermann. And if he can continue to pitch the way he pitched last night, and Tigers might be in business second half of the year.
1-1 strike on Bonifacio. One and two. Single pop-up. There is Jordan Zimmermann, who admitted, he said, man, I walked off the field, I couldn't believe how many strikes I threw.
Man,
I looked at the numbers.
He had a good fastball. He was locating it all over the strike zone. He had a great breaking ball, slider and curve. Didn't throw many changeups, didn't need it.
Behind the bag at third, Castellanos. Bonifacio is out, one gone. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. Bell Tire, for tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. And go for thrilling drives and deals at the Chevy Summer Drive. Chevrolet, find new roads. Another hot, steamy night tonight in KC. Tigers up 6-3 as we play in the fifth. And a strike called on the outer edge to Lorenzo Cain, who didn't like it. Cain 0 for 2. He did reach on a fielder's choice to score a run back in the first. Ripped foul down the left field line. 0-2. 6 runs, 9 Tigers hits. Royals have 3 runs on 6 hits. Tigers have won 3 in a row for the first time since the end of May. And now have also won 4 of their last 5 games. Outside. They've outscored their opponents 35-18 after the All-Star break. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Out in front of it, popped it up. Kinsler wants it, and there are 2 gone.
You know, Mario, we were talking about Eric Hosmer the last time he was up, and the fact that this guy got off to a slow start this year, but his numbers against the Tigers, his slash line is incredible. 345 with a 387 on base percentage and a slugging of over 550. And that's a big, big number in the 900s, and he just drives the ball the opposite way. He pulls the ball. He homered in last night's game, and he's got 2 hits the opposite way today. So Eric Hosmer has had his Tigers number this year.
There's a strike called on Hosmer.
And we were set to talk about Eric Hosmer in our open today before the JD Martinez trade, and all of our talk quickly turned to JD.
Yeah, we had to shift on the fly.
Wonderful job in the studio tonight by John Keating and JP Morosi, and also Craig Monroe. It's not an easy thing to do, and the show is getting ready to come on 5 minutes before the trade.
Hosmer 2 singles, RBI, run scored. And that'll miss high. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
We were up here scrambling, trying to find out some information ourselves.
And you were burning up the phones.
I'm trying. I knew they were going to call on me. I tried to deliver.
It got a nice scouting report.
Didn't we, though?
On the 3 youngsters coming this way. Here's the 1-2. Fly ball in the air to medium depth left. Up then is under it, and boy, Matt Boyd has really straightened things around. A 1-2-3 5th inning. Baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. Did you hear the news on Carlos Correa?
That's horrible. I mean, this guy was on his way of possibly winning an MVP the way he's played lately.
Yeah, he was hitting .320, 20 homers, torn ligaments in his thumb, 6 to 8 weeks. Aaron Judge has not done well since the break.
Man, I sure hope he doesn't struggle the entire second half, because if he does, you know that the young kids will not participate in the home run contest again, because that's what everybody's going to blame it on.
Yep, that's a good point. Starling Marte returning from an 80-game suspension today. Pirates 6 games back in the Central. And
he's not playing center field anymore. McCutchen having a good year. McCutchen now has regained that center field spot in Pittsburgh. Marte will play left.
Here's Mccann to get it started for the Tigers. As we go to the 6th, it'll be Mccann, Presley, Machado facing Peter Moylan. And that one slides away. 1-0 the count on James.
You got to have some patience against a guy like Moylan. You know, he's not throwing the ball very hard. He throws from down under. You really have to wait a long time to make sure the ball's in the strike zone before you start your swing. You do have more time. And another thing with Moylan, because he throws from that arm slot, doesn't get a tremendous amount of sink, especially on the breaking pitches. They go more east to west in the strike zone, and that's a pitch he can make a mistake with.
And Mccann couldn't hold up. A strike call, 2-1. Moylan took over in the 5th inning for Travis Wood, who gave up 3 straight hits, including a home run to Castellanos. Moylan got a fly ball and a ground out. Now the 2-1 pitch. Rolled foul. 2-2 on James Mccann. Well, J.D. Martinez traded away today. Rod, what do you think is on the horizon? We've heard all the talk about maybe Wilson and Avila and maybe Verlander. Who knows?
Well, you have to love the honesty of the general manager, Al Avila. He has said that they're in talks with other teams. He said as much yesterday that they were in talks, and they were pretty far down the road on one of their conversations. So another solid base hit up the middle by James Mccann. That's his 2nd base hit here tonight on a hanging breaking ball thrown by Moylan. But you know there's going to be more activity, Mario, and expect back the same type of talent. Young, athletic, controllable players that the Tigers envision themselves once they get ready to really compete again, being good again. They got 3 good athletes here. I mean, the Alcantara kid's got a plus arm. He's a good shortstop. He can handle that position. Lugo had a very good Arizona Fall League. He's the closest to the big leagues, projected to have power at the 3rd base position. And King, that young kid can fly. All of a sudden, he's the fastest player in the Tigers organization.
Strike 1 to Presley. Well, MLB.com has already updated the Tigers' top prospects now with the new guys they've received. And Lugo will check in now as our 11th best prospect for the Tigers.
Oh.
And Alcantara, number 18.
They don't waste much time, do they?
No. So Faedo's not in there yet. He obviously just signed from the draft. Ooh, Moustakas, great play, but he's not going to be able to throw him out. It'll be an infield hit for Presley. So once Faedo makes the list, I'm sure those guys will be bumped down. That was a foul ball.
That's a nice job by Moustakas, though, just finishing the play, because a lot of times you don't know whether that ball is going to be called fair or foul. And so your job as a 3rd baseman, just finish the play. J.D. Martinez sure did look sad when he was leaving, though, but I just loved his message to the fans in Detroit, though, talking about how they embraced him and how much he loved the fans. They never booed him while he was here for 3 years. Enjoyed playing in the city of Detroit.
He hit 99 home runs in a Tigers uniform. He is now headed to a team that I guess desperately needs a big right-handed bat in the middle of their lineup with all the lefties they face over in the National League West.
He's headed to Cincinnati, too. That's where the Dodgers play tonight and tomorrow night. And I wouldn't be shocked if J.D. Martinez homered tomorrow on his first day.
You mean Diamondbacks?
Diamondbacks tomorrow.
Say balled inside to Presley, 2-2. Well, that would be just like J.D. to kind of slip in the lineup and then hit a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
The way he came back from the disabled list this year. Now the 2-2 to Presley. Driven to center field. Lorenzo Cain backing up. Runner will retreat. One gone. We bring in Trevor Thompson.
Guys, you're talking about J.D. Martinez and how he was feeling sad leaving town with the news that he'd been traded. Well, he was wearing a Tiger ball cap and a Tiger T-shirt giving his press conference, and I asked him how tough it was going to be to take that off. He said he didn't think he was going to give his uniform back to Jim Schmeichel before he left. He wanted to keep a piece of that Tigers right next to his heart when he left town, because it certainly has become a part of him since being moved over here in 2014.
Yeah, and I don't think Jim Schmeichel will make him give it back either.
You know, JD also said he appreciated the opportunity that the organization gave him when no other organization was giving him an opportunity, but he deserves a lot of credit too, because he's the one that really remade himself by changing his swing, and that allowed him to hit 99 homers in a Tigers uniform.
Machado, the batter, spins up a breaking ball. He got the call in the inside corner, 0-2. So for the Diamondbacks now, you look at Goldschmidt in the middle of their lineup. You look at JD, you look at Lamb. That's pretty good thunder in the middle of their lineup.
Trev, you had a chance to talk to the general manager, Al Avila, before the game. I mean, how was his mood when you talked to him?
He was emotional, Rod. He was a little sad. He admitted there were some tears between JD, and Brad Osmus when they called him into the office to break the news to him. Very emotional time. He talked about how close he was to JD and his entire family, and how he was pretty much, they were like family in the game to one another. JD said the same of Al being like a father to him in the game, and Al saying is like a son to him in the game. So they were very close, and it was a very tough day and a very emotional day for Al Avila to make a move like that, guys.
Avila has known J.D. Martinez since J.D. was a youth, playing youth baseball in Florida.
Al might have to trade his own son as well, so I would imagine that's going to be another very difficult day if, in fact, he has to do that, Trev.
And it's got to be tough not only making the move when you finally pull the trigger, but all the hours you put into putting a deal like that together. Al said it was a long time coming together, and it came together over the last day a little quicker than it had, but they've been in talks for weeks. So you know that he's been stressing over this for some time, having to pull the trigger on this deal.
Kinsler, the batter here. The Tigers lead 6-3. Chatting about the big trade today. J.D. Martinez going over to the Diamondbacks, and what might be next for the Tigers. And I think a good point has been made about Justin Wilson and how everybody this time of the year is looking for pitching, especially a guy like Wilson who throws 95, 96, 97 for the left side. He'll be highly sought after. 1-1 is a check swing foul. 1-2. Ian Kinsler has a double and 3 at bats. Kinsler, by the way, was awarded the Heart and Hustle Award today for the Tigers.
That fits him. Got a lot of heart, and he's always hustling.
It's the third time now that Kinsler has won that award for the Tigers. Now Moylan ready with the 1-2. Little high, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
One other point I'll make about JD, guys, he was asked if he knew anybody in the Diamondbacks organization so that there'd be some welcoming arms when he got into Arizona, into the clubhouse there, and he said he really didn't know anybody over there. Doesn't know anybody socially, knows some guys from facing them in the past, but he's going in there cold. He doesn't really have any friends to welcome him and show him around. That'll be a tough part of the transition as well.
Yeah, it'll change. I mean, that won't take long, especially, I think, Ron, you can speak to this more than I can, obviously, but, you know, once you get in the middle of a pennant race and guys start to band together, I think that'll take very little time.
Well, they will welcome JD into their clubhouse. There's no doubt about that. Like he's been a part of their family the entire year. I mean, that's just the closeness of the fraternity that baseball provides all of us.
Runner goes on 3-2, and he popped him up shallow center. Cain calling, and that'll end the inning. No runs. Tigers get a hit, strand a man, and we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Miss the fans, and I feel like the fans really just took me in Detroit. For some reason, I don't know why, they always loved me. Everyone always said it, and for that, I thank them because, going on the field and hearing them, and every time I would do something good, they'd always let you know, and they never put me down, they never booed me. They always picked me up, and if I would strike out 3 times in a game, I'd be in the outfield, and you can hear them, "Hey, you're all right, JD. You got him the 4th at bat," stuff like that. Like, it's huge. It means a lot. So, I thank them, and that's probably going to be one of the hardest parts to leave.
That was JD Martinez chatting with our Trevor Thompson before the game here tonight when JD found out he was traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Tigers came out a little bit flat in the first inning. They fell behind 3-0, but since have roared back to lead 6-3.
And Boyd has made a real nice adjustment after leaving several balls up.
To right field, Presley is on the move. He'll run it down.
In the very first inning, he has allowed James Mccann to lead him beautifully, mixing in breaking balls and changeups, and also changing eye levels with that fastball, and also working inside. So Boyd, give him a lot of credit for making the adjustment against a team that pretty much had his number coming in.
That'll bring up Mike Moustakas now. Since that 3-run first inning, the Royals have only 2 hits the rest of the way. One of those by Moustakas, a single. There's more action. Mike Minor now warming up in the Royals bullpen. Foul back out of play. This is how much Boyd has settled in since that 24-pitch first inning. Swing and a miss. And Moustakas down on strikes. Let's go to John Keating now. Time for a game break. How old is Bartolo Colon?
42,
60,
42, 43.
65.
I'm just looking forward to seeing him on Sunday. We might get a chance to see him on Sunday. He might pitch against the Tigers, and if he does, we're going to have some fun. You guys want to make sure you're tuned in.
Here is Alcides Escobar.
He provides more laughs for anybody in baseball. Bartolo Colon.
Do you think there's an AARP card in his wallet?
Probably so.
Probably. He's the oldest active player. And now a Minnesota Twin. There's a ball inside to Escobar. 2 gone here in the 6th inning. Boy, Matthew Boyd really settling in nicely. We gave you the numbers. This is great to see because this had the makings early on of a rough and short evening for Matthew, but he has settled in nicely.
The Royals had 4 hits in the first inning. They have but 2 the next 5 innings against Matthew Boyd. We were told that he made some nice adjustments while pitching down in Toledo.
There's a 2-out walk.
First one of the game, isn't it?
First one I have. He does have a hit batter. We'll bring up Gordon. He's chewed him up a couple of times. He has struck Gordon out twice.
It's a nice visit there by Mccann, and because he had been on such a roll, just want to go out and make sure that he continues to attack the strike zone.
'83 pitches for Boyd here in the 6th. Gordon batting .191. He'll shoot that one back up the middle into center field. Base hit. Escobar is on his way to third. He is in there standing up, and the Royals have a 2-out rally going. Hey, Friday, July 28th, the Tigers host the Astros at 7:10 p.m. Fans are invited to stay after the game for a fireworks spectacular. If you'd like tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or check it out online, tigers.com. So the tying run will come to the plate now. There is activity in the Detroit bullpen. Shane Green tuning up. And rather quickly. Now we'll buy some time here as Rich Doobie comes out to the mound.
And Shane Green has been outstanding when he has come into games this year and inheriting runners. We'll give you those numbers when Green does come in, if he comes in this particular situation. Few have been better than Shane Green this year.
2-on walk to Escobar, and a single by Gordon. The number 9 hitter is waiting for Boyd. The 30-second clock has run out on Rich Doobie, but he's still hanging out. Now he's finally going to be chased away. So the Royals threatening here in the 6th. Here is Ramon Torres. He was called up on June 7th and was 2 out of 4 in his major league debut. Curveball breaks in for a strike, 0-1.
He has done that a bunch here today. First pitch strike with a breaking ball. 18 of 27, as a matter of fact, overall tonight for Matthew Boyd in that department.
Tigers 6 runs, 10 hits. Royals 3 runs, 7 hits. One ball and 1 strike. Boyd a chance to get out of this jam here by getting the number 9 hitter. Bouncing ball to short. Machado has it there. They'll get the force, and that is that for the Royals. No runs, a walk, and a hit, and 2 men left. Nick Castellanos gets it started in the 7th, and he's already homered in this ball game.
Call of the game. We're going to focus on Nicolas Castellanos' swings of last night and tonight. Here's a home run swing to center field. And what I want you to focus on is the uppercut swing here after the front foot gets down. Nicolas talked a lot in spring training about his launch angle and trying to lift baseballs to create more power, to get more backspin. He also homered in tonight's game in an identical swing. That front foot gets down. Now you come with the backside, and then once he makes contact with that ball, you can see the swing is going upward, and that allows him to hit those fly balls out of the ballpark.
So Nick will lead things off here in the 7th, and he looks at a strike.
Nicolas's timing has been on point right now because that launch angle means nothing if that front foot does not get down in a timely manner. Once he gets the front foot down, and that allows him to rotate the hips, and that allows the bat to get in the strike zone with some bat speed.
Mike Minor is the new pitcher now as Castellanos rolls that one back into the KC dugout.
Get off me, ball.
Wallside windows pitching change with Mr. Minor coming in, replacing Peter Moylan. (6-3). Tigers have the lead here in the 7th. Nick with a homer and a triple in this game. Skosh high, and the count now is 1-2. Castellanos now 13 homers. His RBI total is at 52.
He's been hitting the ball consistently hard all year, but there was a month there early in the season where he was hitting the ball at everybody. But now those are starting to fall.
Well, that ball's hit a ton to center field.
He did it again.
Cain going back to the track, to the wall, and Nick has hit it out right off the top of the wall into row 1. His second home run of the night.
Can you believe Nicolas?
2 homers and a triple tonight for Castellanos. He is just red hot.
Man,
we got him and picked the stick tonight.
I don't know who had him tonight, but they racked up some points tonight.
It's not you or me.
It's not me. No
Nobody.
way. He was left off the board tonight?
Nobody. Nick says, I'll teach you guys.
Oh, that is horrible.
7-3. Tigers have the lead.
Oh, well, at least you didn't have him.
It's a victory for you, isn't it? That ball drilled to the gap in right center field. Cain on the run for this one, not going to get it. Up against the wall. And scooting to second base is Upton with a double.
Tigers with 12 extra base hits already in the first 2 games of the series. We've got 2 more days here.
Just getting going.
And we talked about that launch angle with Nicolas Castellanos. He gets that breaking ball and he catches it just right, and he flips it over the left field wall. I mean, classic uppercut swing there by Castellanos.
(7-3). Tigers have the lead, and they're looking for more after the double by Upton. August 19th of 2015, the last multi-homer game for Nick. There's a wave and a miss by Miguel. 2 singles in the ballgame tonight for Cabrera. That home run by Castellanos, 413 feet. Now Minor with the 0-1. Runner goes to third. Here's the throw by Perez, not in time. It gets away from Moustakas. He's going to try and score. Throw to the plate is not in time. Justin Upton hustles home with the Tigers' 8th run.
Look out, JF. He's got his PF Flyers on the night. Minor forgot all about him. Salvador Perez throws down there from one knee. Moustakas can't knock it down. J-Up gets up in a hurry and races home ahead of the tag and gets to plate with the left hand. It's a great hustle play by Justin Upton.
A great slide. He had to curl around Moustakas to get around him just to come home, and he still beat the throw. J-Up gets his 7th steal of the year, scores on the throwing error. And the Tigers add 2 more to lead 8-3. Here's the 1-2 to Miggy. Now the 2-2. Full count now, 3-2 on Correa. Miguel has a couple of hits tonight. He also walked in the ball game last night. Bouncing ball left side. Moustakas cuts it off. In the dirt, and man, nobody does it better than Hosmer. He can really pick it down at first.
If you notice Hosmer, one of the things he does with his glove, usually when he has to pick a ball, he starts with the glove on the ground. And then he makes the adjustment from the ground up. I mean, there are some first basemen, when they take the glove, they don't have it on the ground. They start up, and then they can't get down to make the play. But he usually starts down and works his way up, just like that. He does it to perfection. Some of the softest hands of any first baseman in the sport.
Here is Mikey Matuk. Double and 3 at-bats for Matuk. 12 Tigers hits on the board. Minor replaced Moylan and probably gave up the home run to Castellanos. One and two. Matuk has been really good since the start of June, 337. And now with the trade of J.D. Martinez, Mikey's certainly going to play every day. Presley, along with Jim Adduci, who was called up today, they'll see some playing time. That's how the Tigers now will fill that right field position. And Adduci, before he got hurt, he was a pleasant surprise too.
He really was.
He was sitting extremely well. Now the 2-2, and off the plate, 3-2. 96 there from the left-hander. Victor waiting on deck. Swing and a miss. Mikey knew he chased one there. 2 gone. Here's Martinez. Tigers have 18 runs so far in this series in a little less than 2 games.
And Tigers bats have really woken up in the last 3 games. They scored 11 runs a couple of days ago against Toronto. 10 yesterday. They've got 8 already today. Weather's starting to warm up. Bats warming up too.
Well, the Tigers have had instances this year where the bats really got rolling and then just kind of fell flat. They would like to find more consistency with them and, you know, keep them going for a week or 2.
Well, not only that, but the pitching has been very good since the break, and they're going to need that. I mean, they need to run off about 10 of 12 victories to get themselves back into the Central somehow, some way. They have to get to 500. That's one of the things that we constantly talk about. No one takes you seriously until you're at least a 500 team.
Tigers were 10 games under 500 after they lost to the Blue Jays in game 1 of the second half. That ball hammered down the left field line, foul, and it hooked up against the wall. Big night for Nick. Triple 2 homers.
And Nicolas lost one of his best buddies on the team when JD was traded to Arizona. Alex Avila as well. They all work out together in the offseason in Miami.
Fouled away. think they all understand the business part of the game, and you know, I don't think it took anybody by surprise. You never really think it's going to happen until it does, but I think the Tigers as a team were prepared that something like this was going to happen. And JD departing today, but that is how baseball works. Down goes Victor. That'll end the inning. Tigers and 2 more runs. Nicolas Castellanos doing it again. His 2nd home run of the night. Coming up, the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch.
After a very shaky first inning here tonight where Matthew Boyd gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, boy has he settled in. Real nice breaking ball today to the left-handers and the right-handers. He's thrown a lot of breaking balls on first pitches to get ahead. Lots of soft contact. We talked about the 4 hits in the first. The Royals only have 3 after that. He's mixed in every single pitch, the fastball, the curve, the slider, and the change, and that's made the fastball that much more effective as well. Boyd has also touched 96 here today, so he's throwing harder than we remember him throwing before he left.
Well, it started out bumpy, but he's really done a nice job now giving way to Shane Green as the Royals come up here in the bottom of the 7th. Wall side windows pitching change for Mr. Green.
46 game this year for Greeny. He's got a nice ERA. 46. And his strikeouts, 23 base on balls.
Merrifield is leading things off. Witt was hit by a pitch back in the first and scored.
Shane Green's another one of those guys we really haven't talked all that much about, but he's done a marvelous job pitching out of the Tigers bullpen, and every team in contention right now needs bullpen help, especially a guy that does well with inherited runners, and Green's been one of the best in the game this year.
Well, he's gone to 3-0 now on Whit Merrifield.
It's almost like he pitches better when he comes in the game when men are on base.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Bonifacio and then Cain, top 3 for KC. Here's the 3-0. And there's ball 4. A 4-pitch walk to lead off the bottom of the 7th. Yeah, the Tigers host the Astros July 29th at 6:10. Former Tiger John Hiller will take part in a pregame Q&A session, 4:45 p.m. in the Big Cat Court. Part of the Alumni Saturdays. Visit tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGER.
Oh, Ratso.
That's one of my favorite nicknames.
Oh, Ratso. John Hiller. Good dude, man. Is up in the UP.
Well, he will be down at Comerica Park. Here's Bonifacio. 8-3, Tigers have the lead. Bonifacio looks at a ball outside, and that is 5 in a row that have missed from Green.
I get a chance to catch up with John Hiller every year.
Do you?
Tigers fantasy camp.
Okay.
Yeah, he's down there every single year. He has a lot of fun down there. Great man.
Now the 1-0. There's a strike called. You got the benefit of that call. You ever worry about pulling something down in one of those fantasy camps?
No, I don't worry about pulling anything because I don't exert that much energy.
What do you do?
I mean, I coach.
Oh,
I mean, I hit fungos and I hit fly balls and, you know, different things like that.
Yeah.
But as far as me running the bases and things like that, no, I'm not doing that.
A little bit foul back out of play. 1-2 on Bonifacio.
You know, Gates Brown, bless his heart. He came to the fantasy camp obviously every year before he passed away, and the message that he would have for the campers when we would all get together before the very first workout, he said, let me give you a piece of advice. Start off slow and taper off. Because they would come down to the camp.
That's a great line.
Yeah, he said start off slow and then taper on off. Because they would all come down there, man, in their gung-ho and the new shoes and everything, and next thing you know, a couple days in, man, they can't walk because they're running those bases and sliding and playing 3 games a day. It's a lot of fun, though.
Meanwhile, 2-2 now on Bonifacio. Shane Green takes over for Matthew Boyd here in the 7th. Leadoff walk to Merrifield.
Got to come down there one year. You got a spot down there. You might as well come on down there one year.
What do you mean you got a spot down there?
In Lakeland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I need an invite before I can come. I'm not going to crash the party.
Jerry give you an invite.
Yeah. More action. Al Albuquerque in the Royals bullpen. 2-2. The count on Jorge Bonifacio. Green facing the top of the lineup here in the 7th. Tigers got 2 more in this inning to lengthen the lead. Swing and a miss, and not a very strong swing either. Bonifacio down on strikes.
And good hard 2-seam fastball with some late life on it at about 94 miles an hour, unleashed there by Shane Green. Green's got tremendous movement with his sinker ball, and he's got some good velo with it too when he went from 94 to 96.
Lorenzo Cain.
Yeah, might as well get Cain to ground into his 13th double play of the year. They've done a lot of that to Cain today. First pitch breaking ball, and he's taken every last one of them. Boyd did it a couple of times to him, and then Greeny starts him off with a slow breaking ball right there. They might have to change their game plan against him tomorrow. He'll be looking for that slow breaking ball.
Merrifield with his lead at first. Cain sends a grounder up the middle, and nice play by Machado, and they'll turn 2 as Kinsler turns it at second. Nicely done. A 6-4-3. Dixon Machado goes deep behind the bag, and another twin killing for Cain. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire.
Back to August 3rd of 2016. JD Martinez, first day off the disabled list, pinch hitting against Chris Sale and hit the ball in the bushes to straightaway center field. That by far my favorite JD Martinez moment, and I'm sure it's a lot of Tigers fans' favorite moment as well.
Martinez' career with the Tigers, a .300 average with 99 home runs. And, of course, a lot of those came from the 7th inning or later, which kind of added to his resume.
40 of the 99.
Pretty impressive.
Another special moment was at Yankee Stadium when he hit those 3 home runs on Father's Day a couple of years ago.
Mccann skies one to center field, sending Cain back, still going back to the track.
Can you tell I miss him?
Well, I think we all do. Wall side windows pitching change now as Albuquerque comes on for the Royals.
Albuquerque came in last night's game as well, the former Tiger. Pitching okay this year in 8 games for the Royals. The ERA at 3.86. Fastball 93 to 95, but nothing's really changed regarding Albuquerque. A lot of sliders, and he has a good slider.
Little dart low. Alex Presley getting the start in right field, the late addition to the Tigers lineup when JD was traded just before game time tonight. One ball and 1 strike. There is action in the Tigers bullpen. Alex Wilson. Fouled off. Presley tonight 0 for 3 with a run scored. More Tigers hits tonight. They had 14 last night. Presley earlier this year hit for the cycle down in Toledo. In fact, he ended up with 5 hits, including that cycle. Veteran players, been with several different organizations. There's a base hit up the middle. 1 out single for Presley. Fans, RBI Baseball 2017 is out now for Xbox One, PS4, iOS, and Android. Enjoy fast-paced pick-up-and-play Major League Baseball action packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, and ballparks. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Here's Machado Dixon with an RBI tonight, courtesy of a sac fly. .311 batting average now for Machado. Dixon created a memory on the last homestand, hit his first major league home run. It came against the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, that was a beautiful moment for Dixon Machado.
Roll right back to the mound. Albuquerque fires it. They'll get 1 and not in time. A double play try, but too much speed for Machado. He's aboard. Albuquerque just kind of flung that ball to the bag at second.
Yeah, he had more time to set his feet and give Escobar a firmer throw and give Escobar a legitimate shot at turning the double play over. But he didn't do that. It's almost like he was afraid to throw it.
Yeah, he almost shot put it in. Here is Kinsler. Ian with a double and run scored in this game, 1 for 4.
It's been a real nice series so far for Ian. 2 triples last night and a double. And he's already doubled here tonight. He doubled on a 3-0 pitch here tonight.
1-1. Kinsler already came in batting .353 against the Royals this year.
Ooh.
That's in for a strike.
Tigers have beaten the Royals 5 of the 7 meetings so far this year. And these two teams will lock up 5 more times in the next 9 days.
The Central Division has not been an issue for the Tigers. They've pretty much beat up on most teams within the division. They're going for their 22nd win within the Central tonight.
It has been an issue for the Royals, though. They are 9 games under 500 within the division.
Wow, it's hard to win your division that far under 500.
They are 13-22 against the division.
The best winning percentage within the Central belongs to the Tigers. Runner goes on 3-2, base hit to left for Kinsler. Second hit of the game for Ian.
Ian went through a stretch there for about 2 weeks where he was popping up literally everything. Now in the last 3 games or so, he's getting those shoulders a little bit more parallel and hitting a lot more line drives. Good swing here by Ian. Breaking ball that kind of stays up around the belt buckle, but he didn't drop that back shoulder.
How do you think guys get into habits like that, where, as you mentioned, they drop the back shoulder and everything all of a sudden has popped up?
Well, I mean, you just kind of get into ruts, really. I mean, sometimes guys get a little tired. They need a day off. That's why Brad does a nice job at trying to rest Ian, trying to rest Iglesias, and give guys a day off, a mental day off, because a lot of times that's all it is, Mario. When you start to create bad habits, you're getting a little tired, and then you take a real small problem and you make it into a bigger problem because you're trying to figure out other things.
Castellanos taking all the way, strike one. It's been a gargantuan night for Nick. He's got 2 homers, a triple, and 4 RBIs.
What a day for Nicolas.
3 of the 14 Tigers hits in this game. They lead 8-3. Shot back up the middle into center. It's a base hit. Here comes Machado. He will score, and the big night got bigger for Castellanos, his 4th hit tonight.
And let's take a look at his overall night if you're just joining us. Castellanos, he tripled. That was back in the 2nd inning, and that kind of got his entire night going. That was a dive by Merrifield. That drove in 2. And then the next time Castellanos comes up, he homers. That's to left field. Gets out in front of one. Drives that one in that direction. Next time up for the 2nd consecutive night, plays long ball to center field. And now a base hit. So Castellanos is just feeling real good about what he's doing right now.
So is Upton. A single, a double, a steal, and a run scored tonight for JL. 15 Tigers hits. A 9-3 Tiger lead. Bouncing ball to third. And Moustakas across the diamond. That'll end the inning. The Tigers add 1 more run here in the 8th. And the lead now is 6. It's brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. Beckert-Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. The Tigers own a big lead again tonight, 9-3. Alex Wilson out of the Tigers bullpen.
Alex pitching in his 41st game this year. Checks in with a 3.85 earned run average. Fastball gets up to about 93, on occasion 94. He'll cut the fastball, throw you a breaking ball. He's been good out of the Tigers bullpen since coming from the Boston Red Sox.
Hosmer and then Perez and Moustakas 4, 5, and 6 in the lineup for Ned Yost. Big swing there by Hosmer, and the count is 0-2. Shane Green came on in the 7th, walked a batter, but got a double play ball, faced only 3 batters. And now Wilson here in the 8th. 9 runs, 15 Tigers hits. Royals 3 runs, 7 hits. Nick Castellanos, the big bat tonight for the Tigers. He has tied career highs in both hits and RBIs. 4 hits and 5 driven in for Nicolas.
Yeah, good for Castellanos tonight.
One and 2 on Hosmer.
Ooh, what a pitch. 1 away. 80 miles an hour with this breaking ball. Just flipped it up there. Curveball has all of a sudden been that go-to pitch for a lot of pitchers these days. A lot of guys that got rid of their curveballs when they first got into pro baseball are rediscovering that pitch again. I think pitches go in cycles. A couple of years ago, it was a cut fastball.
Strike called on Perez. I wonder if guys are just, you say pitches go in cycles, and I think you're right. I wonder if a lot of it has to do with the pitchers kind of responding to what the hitters are doing.
I think so.
You've talked about the launch angles now and how everybody's hitting the ball in the air.
And I think the curveball is the best pitch to disrupt the timing of guys that are really concentrating on trying to lift the ball in the air, because the pitch starts up high and then it goes down at the bottom of the strike zone. And a lot of times guys that are swinging upward will swing over the top of the breaking ball.
Here is Moustakas now, 1 on, 1 out. Single and 3 at bats for the Royals third baseman. That'll give Kansas City 8 hits on the night. Ground ball right side, base hit. It'll find a hole, and Perez will go to second. And the Royals now have something going here, 2 on, 1 out. That'll bring up Alcides Escobar. Mccann out to the mound and have a brief confab with Wilson. Royals got 3 in the first, and they have not scored since. They came out of the chute tonight looking like they were ready to roll. And then Boyd shut them down the rest of the way. Single RBI and a walk for Escobar. Ball 1. That drove the center field on a line, but it straight at Matuk. Hard hit ball, 2 gone. Check back in with Trevor Thompson.
As Alcides Escobar walks back to the dugout, you were talking about him getting hit last night and the resiliency he shows. Ned Yost was talking about how strong this kid is and how resilient he is before the game. He took that ball off the wrist last night. It hit him on the nerve. By the time they went to take him for x-rays, he claimed himself good to go. So there was really no doubt he'd be back and ready to go today. He compared him to Salvador Perez in a different way, saying both of these guys are very tough and very resilient in their own way, but very impressed with Alcides Escobar and his toughness, guys.
Yeah, and you got to be tough to play that many games in a row. 263 consecutive now for Escobar. A very demanding position, the shortstop position.
Well, since he came to the big leagues, only one player in the major leagues has played more games than Escobar. Escobar has played 1,034, and Robinson Cano has played 1,037. So only 3 more games for Cano since the beginning of the 2011 season.
The 0-1.
He literally plays every day.
Kinsler flags that one down, and Gordon is out of there to retire the side. We go to the 9th. Clubhouse again tonight for the Tigers based on the score right now. Obviously a little bit sad that J.D. Martinez is gone. Here is Neftali Feliz, the former Tiger, now will come on for the Royals and pitch the 9th.
And Feliz started the season pitching for the Milwaukee Brewers. He struggled there with the earned run average, but he was saving games for Milwaukee. And they let him go, and Royals picked him up. He still got a good arm. And Feliz fastball still gets up into the upper 90s.
Cabrera 2 singles and a run scored tonight. Feliz starts him off with a heater up top at 95. Miggy batting 266. Swings right through the slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. Waving to miss again.
It's almost like Miguel's having a difficult time of seeing the baseball right now.
I agree. Little pop-up right to the second baseman, Torres.
Man, oh man, is he scuffling.
Miggy doesn't even get out of the batter's box. He is out number 1. Here is the upcoming pitching matchup presented by Wallside Windows. It'll be game 3 of the series tomorrow. And we have Jason Hamill and Justin Verlander.
Verlander looking to get back on track. Verlander's pitched some outstanding games this year, and one of the things he said he will be working on tomorrow is keeping the ball down in the strike zone, trying to prevent the Royals from fouling off a lot of pitches as teams do against him every 5th day. Hamill's kind of turned it around lately. He's been pitching some pretty good baseball despite the ERA over 5.
Up and into Mikey Matuk.
Any way you slice it, Tigers have to love the next couple of nights going out there with Verlander on Wednesday and then the getaway day.
Yeah, Fulmer.
Michael Fulmer. Fulmer's in the Cy Young conversation right now as we speak. That's how good he's been.
Did not pitch in the All-Star game because he threw in the final game or final day of the first half on that Sunday, but he went to the All-Star game, joined the festivities nonetheless.
He is the same guy today as the guy that showed up before he threw his first pitch in the major leagues, even with all the success he's had. Rookie of the Year, All-Star team, still real humble cat is Michael Fulmer.
Shallow right field on that fly ball by Matuk, and there are 2 gone.
And you appreciate that about a young pitcher that's had a lot of success. It's just stay even keel, where it can be very difficult to do in this game.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because in his rookie season early last year, we were walking into Target Field in Minneapolis, and I walked in through the press gate, and there was some guy behind me with a backpack on.
You're right.
Had a jacket on, had a hat on, and I looked back and I had no idea who it was. And we walk into the stadium, he starts following me, wanting to know where the clubhouse is, and it was Michael Fulmer. I mean, it didn't look like, you know, a big league player with all the bling and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Just a normal dude. And that's just who he is.
Yeah, from Oklahoma.
1 strike on Victor.
Or is it Oklahoma City?
Oklahoma City, OKC.
Uh-oh.
That ball hit in the air to right field and pretty good. Merrifield on the run, still going back, and that ball's off the wall. Victor is on his way to second, and he is going to be in there standing up.
I think that's a homer. Just wishful thinking on my part.
2 base hit. Although Victor's still looking out there.
A little 2-seam fastball at the bottom of the strike zone. Victor catches it just right. He thought he had a homer because he wasn't necessarily running out of the batter's box, and that ball
That was close.
hit out there over the out-of-town scoreboard. Nearly got out. Victor had to hustle to get that double.
He'll bring up Mccann. How old do you think Neftali Feliz is?
Feliz is probably only 31 years old.
He's 29.
Ooh.
And I thought he was like 32, 33.
No, he came to the movies real young.
Yeah, that was back in 2009 at the age of 21.
I knew he was young, but I didn't think that he was 29.
Yeah. He was an all-star and the Rookie of the Year at the age of 22.
Well, my wife keeps saying she's 29 and we've been married for 32 years. I'm still trying to figure out that math.
You just threw your wife under the bus. I can't believe it.
Yeah, she's 29 years old. That's what she tell everybody.
Still trying to figure out that math.
Yeah, 29 and we've been married for 32.
Mccann didn't like that call. 1-2. (9-3) Tigers have the lead, trying to make it 2 straight in this series and 4 consecutive wins. Drilled to left field on a line, and Gordon with a sprawling play in left.
That is a great play by Gordon. That's why he's won 4 Gold Gloves. Losing by 6, stretching out like that.
Well, the Tigers are turned back here in the 9th inning. Great play by Gordon, robbing Mccann of a hit. 9-3 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. our big story. Two of the great young players in Major League Baseball squaring off tonight. Bryce Harper in Anaheim homers in the first inning over the center field wall, not to be outdone. Mike Trout follows suit as he goes over the center field wall. Trout and Harper both homer in the first inning.
A couple of special talented players. Two of the best in our sport.
Mike Trout just coming off the disabled list. Well, the Tigers trying to put the finishing touches on this one. They lead 9-3 as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Wilson's still out there. It'll be his second inning of work. And Torres will lead things off. It'll be Torres, Merrifield, and Bonifacio. Ball one to Ramon Torres, who is 1 for 3 tonight. Two 2-0. Tigers got 6 out of Boyd. They got the 7th from Green, and now the 8th and 9th, hopefully, from Wilson. The 2-0 coming to Torres, and it's in there. A strike call. 2 more to go here. Then it's on to Minneapolis over the weekend. 3-game set against the Twins.
And throw another one right down the middle. See how far Torres can hit it.
2-2 the count. 16 more hits tonight for the Tigers. Coming up on postgame, Tigers Live postgame. John Paul Morosi in studio. More on the Tigers trade of J.D. Martinez. Here's the 2-2, and it's banged off his foot. John Paul Morosi was breaking it down, wasn't he?
He sure was.
Man, he is all over the place.
John Paul is a diligent worker and one of the best at what he does. He is moving fast in this business too.
He's on that kind of track you're on.
I was just getting ready to say pretty soon he's going to be making some of that paper like you. Some of that glue.
Paper, all right. Here's the 2-2, and it's slapped foul back out of play. Of course, John Paul used to be a beat writer here for the Tigers. He's gone on to greener pastures. Everyone wondering who may be the next Tiger to be traded. Is it Verlander? Is it Wilson? Is it Avila?
You think Verlander will go to bed tonight thinking he might not make his start tomorrow for the Tigers?
Yeah, well, who knows what he's thinking, but always a possibility. Who knows? That's going to be caught down there in foul territory. Castellanos never gave up on it and made the play.
Castellanos is having some fun tonight. And why not? A couple of homers, a triple. Never giving up, knowing exactly where he was. Took a couple of steps. Multiple looks at the fence and makes a nice play. We'll go out on a limb.
Uh-oh.
He's your POG today, isn't he? Player of the game.
Nicholas?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to think about it. He only has 4 hits, 2 homers, 5 RBIs.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Good to see. Now if they could get Miggy going. Get him to smiling again. I miss his smile.
Here's the 0-1. Driven to center field, hitting pretty good. Matuk on the run, not going to get there up against the wall. Merrifield has his first hit tonight.
That is now 8 consecutive home games that Whit Merrifield has an extra base hit, which ties a franchise record set by a couple of other players, Mike McFarland and Hal McCray. 8 games at home with an extra base hit. Consecutive games.
Whitster getting it done.
And Mike McFarland was a catcher in the Royals organization. And of course, Hal McCray, and pretty much was a designated hitter and a former Royals manager.
Little chopper back up the middle. Machado charging. Bonifacio is out, advanced the runner to third, but there are 2 gone. And that's going to leave it up to Lorenzo Cain. He is the final chance tonight for the Royals. Tigers to this point are outscoring the Royals 19-5 in the series. The bats have come alive the last 2 nights.
As hot as the Royals were before the break, they have gone stone cold after the break. Very streaky team.
Ball 1. Cain knocked into a double play in his last at bat. He looks at ball 2. On base once via a fielder's choice and scoring a run. The 2-0. On a line to right field should do it, and it does. Presley makes the catch, and the Tigers have won the first 2 games in this series here in KC. Big night for Castellanos. 9-3 your final score. Now we send you to the Call Sam Studios. John Keating standing by with Tigers Live postgame.